A long, long time ago, there was a time where there were two separate worlds named the upper world and the lower world. Living and unliving things exist and have their lives on their own. Wherein, the upper world there resides the divine kind people, while in the lower world there live great water covering the earth. And in between these worlds exists the great darkness, which is being covered by great water in the upper world. And these worlds had a ruler, and for the upper world, the divine sky people had a great chief who had a lovely daughter named Atahensik. All were having at peace and quiet lives, but it all changed when their princess Atahensik got very ill with a strange disease.
Princess, how did this happen? I cannot believe that my daughter got this kind of strange illness that's slowly killing her body. I cannot stand seeing her. I cannot stand seeing her. Please save her. Please do all that you could to cure her. Save my princess. I cannot afford to lose her.
Yes, Chief. I will use my all knowledge and skills to protect our people.
The medicine man tried all that he could to heal her, but nothing would make her well, and this only made her situation far more worse than before. Until one day, one of the chief's people dreamed about the great corn tree, stood near the chief lodge, and it was a source of their principal food, and if they placed her on the ground by this great corn tree.
All due respect, Chief, I think this will be our only way to save your daughter. We lost every options that we have, but there's nothing that can heal her. This might work and praying that it turns out good. We're all concerned about her condition.
The chief was feeling hopeless and desperate enough to think about his daughter's pitiful condition. He was so hopeful with his only solution that he didn't think his people's welfare.
I think I have no other choice but to sleep, letting her go for her welfare. I will do anything for my daughter. God, my divine sky people, dig underneath this great corn tree to its roots.
Yes, we're glad to help you, Chief.
Sky people start digging underneath the tree, and soon after several diggings, the tree soon enough became toppled to the ground with a loud thunderous crash. Alarmed by the terrifying sound, another sky person, a young man, ran toward the great corn tree and was horrified to see that it had been uprooted. It was clear that the chief had committed an outrageous act. The young man turned to his chief and unleashed his fury.
I have no right to destroy this tree. Without these fruits, we will all die of starvation. Even the lives of daughter's chief is not that important.
The removal of the corn tree's roots had left a large hole in the ground. The young man was so enraged that before the chief could stop him, he kicked Atahensik into that hole. Down, 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 the goddess fell, through the hole that formed a tunnel from the world above into the dark world below. Loon was the first to see the glow that marked the fall of the goddess, and he decided to rescue her. He called out to the other water animals.
Look, Sky Woman is falling into our world. She needs our help, or she will drown.
Loon caught Atahensik on his wings and then slowly descended with her to the great water on which she lived. Meanwhile, many of the animals wished to do their part to save Sky Woman's life, so they gathered together and made a raft of their bodies on which she could rest. Sky Woman landed safely, and the animal raft was able to support her. However, the animals could not live forever in the form of raft, and Sky Woman could not live forever upon their backs. The animals needed to rest, and the goddess needed to move about. So it came to pass that the water animals who were forming the raft said,
We must come up with a better plan to care for Sky Woman. We are all tired out. Do any of you have a good idea?
The great turtle was the first to volunteer.
Place her upon my body, he directed. Mine is larger and stronger than all of yours put together.
That is all well and good for now, but Sky Woman will surely die unless we can create a bed of earth upon which she can live. It will have to be large enough for her to be able to walk happily during the day and sleep comfortably at night.
I agree. Those of you who think that you can do it should dive down to the bottom of great water, bite off a piece of the earth that you can find there, and carry it back up here in your mouth.
It came to pass that Muskrat was the first to muster the courage necessary to make the deep dive. He was followed by Beaver and then by Otter. Beaver was the first to return alive. He was very tired and very short of breath. Otter returned quite a while after Beaver. He was more tired and more short of breath. Turtle looked inside his mouth. He could find no earth. By this time, all of the water animals had become very worried about Muskrat, who had not yet returned from the deep. While they were discussing what to do, Muskrat's body suddenly reappeared on the surface of the water. He was dead. However, Muskrat had been as skillful as he was courageous. For clutched in his claws and lodged inside his mouth was earth from the bottom of the sea. Great Turtle gave the earth to Sky Woman, who spread it carefully around the edges of Great Turtle's shell. The more earth she spread, the larger grew Great Turtle's shell and the more earth there was to spread. In fact, the earth continued to grow broader and deeper until it formed an enormous expanse of dry land called Great Island. And from that day to this, Great Island has rested upon Great Turtle's shell, at the Hensik recovered from her strange disease.
Thank you for helping me, people of the lower world.
We're glad to help those in need.
Just as the dreamer had dreamed she would, Sky Woman now built herself an earth lodge, and despite the eternal darkness, she lived happily with the water animals for neighbors. In time, she gave birth to a baby girl who became known as Earth Woman. It came to pass that one day, the Earth Woman was digging the wild potatoes that grew in the dirt of Great Island.
Where was I again? I forgot the way home. I couldn't find my trail.
Still confused, instead of facing west, she faced the east. Not long after that, Earth Woman found that she had become pregnant. West wind had blown into her body and had made her pregnant. Just as birth pangs were beginning, Earth Woman heard the twin suns within her body angrily arguing about when and how to be born.
I should come out first because I'm more concerned with our mother's safety. You are too eager to come out, that's why she's struggling.
Shut up! You're hurting my ears. Why don't you let me come first, so that I can do anything I want?
Evil Twin, who was bold and selfish, was determined to emerge first from his mother's armpit. Good Twin, who was gentle and unselfish, was content to emerge second in the usual way. So it came to pass that while Good Twin was being born, Evil Twin impatiently burst forth from their mother's womb. It then came to pass that both nourished by Sky Woman's tears and by Sun initiated the idea of creating plants. The three sisters began to push through the earth that covered Earth Woman's body, the squash vine from what remained of the Earth Woman's head, corn plants from her chest, and bean planes from her arms and legs. Good Twin loved these plants, and so he asked Thunder to provide the rain that they would need in order to flourish.
I so love these plants. You've done a very good job, Three Sisters. You never failed assuming me.
Our pleasure serving you, Good Twin. You have us all along.
Thunder, my friend, can you provide rain for these plants to grow?
Of course, my dear friend. Right away, I'll give you what you need.
And so he asked Thunder to provide the rain that they would need in order to flourish. In their own time, the twin boys grew to become young men. They continued to have different personalities and different opinions. However, They agreed that the time had come to prepare Great Island for the Igwiho people, who would soon live on it. They planned to start out to spend the day apart from each other and to meet at their lodge as usual that night. When they separated, Evil Twin would walk toward the west, while Good Twin would walk toward the east. And as they walked, each would create such things as lakes, forests, plants, and animals. Then during the next 2 days, each brother would take the other to see what he had created. As Good Twin walked toward the east, he would reach down to the earth at his feet, pick up a handful of dirt and toss it. He tossed wherever his foot stepped upon. However, no matter where Good Twin tossed his handful of dirt, living plants or animals came into being. Moreover, wherever Good Twin had placed his feet, maple trees began to grow. Still determined to be the first in everything, Evil Twin, whose Iroquois name means like flint, was the first to show off his creations. Unlike Good Twin, he possessed an evil imagination and enjoyed creating mischief. Consequently, he had created a range of mountains on his part of Great Island. It was difficult to walk there because of all the rocks underfoot and the many treacherous ledges. As they traveled separately, one of Evil Twin's creation, Mosquito, continued bothering Good Twin with his sharp pointed nose. And because he got annoyed with his brother's huge creations, he made it all small so that they cannot do much harm on Igwiho people. In the course of their walk, Evil Twin also showed Good Twin the fierce animals that he had made: bear, wolf, and panther, as well as fox, porcupine, raccoon, and snake. These animals were all much larger than they are today. Good Twin looked at these huge predators and exclaimed,
"Forgive brother, the Igbo people are soon going to live on that great island. If these fierce animals will surely kill them."
Good Twin did not have the power to undo what his brother had created, but was able to make each animal smaller so that the Igwiho people could hunt and trap them for their skin and their meat. It was then that Good Twin spied Partridge, whom he had created but who was now on Evil Twin's land.
What are you doing here, Partridge?
Toad came into our land and drank up all the water. I have heard that if there is any water left, I will only find it there in the land of Flint.
Where's the Toad Twin, brother? I was just about to show him to you. Of all the animals that I created, I love him the best. I have fashioned him to be so thirsty that he will drink every drop of fresh water on Great Island.
When Good Twin found Toad, he took one look at his bulging body and shot an arrow into his neck. And from then on, they see each other more like enemies less than twin brothers because of disagreement and misunderstanding. Suddenly, all of Great Island's fresh waters poured forth in a great waterfall that ran off in different directions as the first rivers. Good Twin was quick to divide each river down the middle so that the half water flowed in one direction and half flowed in the other.
I want one side of every river, always to flow downstream. Then the Igbo people will not have to work at bagging their animals. Instead, they can float with the current.
I cannot let you do this. The Igbo people will have to work for everything they get.
With a spade, he then imprisoned them inside the cave, locking the entrance with a huge boulder. He smiled with satisfaction as he imagined how they would all die of starvation. However, Bird had followed Evil Twin and watched him from above. Bird then flew to Good Twin and told him what Evil Twin had done.
My lord, your twin had gathered your creation and imprisoned them so that they would starve till death. He used food as bait in order to collect all the good animals and lock them up in a cave.
Good Twin followed Bird as he flew through the trees in the forest, until in time, Bird led him to discover the huge cave where animals been black inside. Good Twin gathered all his strength and pushed aside the boulder, permitting his animals to regain their freedom. Evil Twin also noticed that his brother had created sycamore trees that produced sweet fruits and sugar maple trees whose syrup dripped from the branches. Of course, Evil Twin was not at all happy with what Good Twin had done. With an angry voice, he said,
Brother, I see that you and I can never agree on anything. If I let you have your way, the Igbo people will have to pay a time. However, as you are beginning to see, I do not intend let you have your way.
Evil Twin became very angry that he shakes every animal Good Twin had created and changed them just as how evil he was. Evil Twin then turned his attention to the sycamore tree and caused its fruit to become small and of no use. He changed the sugar maple tree syrup to a sweet water. Earth Woman appeared to Good Twin in a dream and disappeared after her warning.
Beware of your evil brother, my son. He will try to kill you by any means. So meet his treachery with your own.
It is clear that we will never be able to get along. I am furious with your changing my creation, and you are furious with me for changing yours. So I suggest that we fight each other for the control of Great Island. Do you agree?
Yes, I agree to the idea of economies, and I agree to the price. But I would like to avoid violence. Let's just have a race.
I agree to that, but I insist that the victor will then have the right to do whatever he wishes to the losers. And you may as well know that if I win, and of course I will win, I will take the win of life from you. So tell me, what is it that can hurt you? If you will confide in me, I will confide in you.
They confide each other's fears. Wild Rose was one of Good Twin's fears, while Evil Twin feared Buckhorns. The competition starts, and as expected, Evil Twin performs treachery, fully determined that he can outrun his brother.
Evil Twin chased Good Twin all that day, tearing up mountains and trees like a great whirlwind as he raced after him. However, whenever Good Twin became tired, he would snatch some of the wild rose and eat it, thereby recovering his energy. Evil Twin found no such respite from his own fatigue because buckhorns were constant thorns in his feet. Therefore, Evil Twin could not catch up to his brother that day, and no matter how Evil Twin pleaded, Good Twin would not stop and permit him to rest. The sun began its journey on the second day, while Evil Twin continued to chase Good Twin, tearing up mountains and trees like a great whirlwind as he raced after him. The sun was ending its journey on the second day when Good Twin became the first to reach the finish line. By this time, Evil Twin felt defeated by exhaustion as well as by the constant thrust of buckhorns. He pleaded with Good Twin to let him stop where he was and rest. But Good Twin had the right of the victor to insist that his brother finish the race. At last, Evil Twin dragged himself to the end of the path and collapsed at Good Twin's feet.
Do not kill me, brother.
But according to our agreement, that is exactly what I must do. The idea of a contest was yours. The idea of the prize was yours. The idea of the violence was yours. As the winner, I must do what you will do to me. So I will kill you to stop you from creating major damage, brother.
That night, the soul of Evil Twin came to Good Twin and said,
I would like to join you in our lodge.
But I cannot permit you to do.
Then, I bid you farewell. For you will never see me again. I will travel far to the northwest, to the land of the Great Wall Silence. And there, I will wait all among the Igbo people who died to join me. Know that, from this time and forth, and forever, it is I who will have the power over the soul once the last wind of life leaves the body. The soul of the dead will leave great islands and will live in my land forever.
And with these words, Evil Twin left on his journey and became Evil Spirit. Good Twin repaired the damage to the mountains and the trees that their chase had caused. Then he created the Igwaho people who would inhabit Great Island. From the dirt at his feet, he formed a male and a female figure that resembled himself and his mother. He then bent down and breathed the wind of life into their nostrils, making their souls come alive. Then Good Twin disappeared from Great Island. first man and first woman loved each other, and from their union, the first 6 pairs of Iguaho people came forth from the heart of Great Island. They all spoke the Iroquois language, and they became the ancestors of all the Iguaho people. In the beginning, the first 5 families resolved that from that time forth and forever, despite differences in language and in location, they, their children, and their children's children would always understand each other and would remain united. It was they who established the great Iroquois nation.
God created Adam and Eve in his own image, with his own hands, and breathed his very life into them. Jehovah God placed them in the Garden of Eden and told them, "Of every tree of the garden you may freely eat, but of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil you shall not eat of it. For in the day that you eat thereof, you shall surely die."